we haven't seen anything yet. And in fact, we are on the cusp of the launch of what's called Polkadot Hub. Jam is the next evolution of Polkadot to bring Web3 into the real world.
Spreading the good word on good work in crypto. My name is Tim. I'm here with my friend William. William is an ambassador at Polkadot, and I met him last year at the Asia Blockchain Summit in Taipei. And he's currently an ecosystem/BD person for OpenZeppelin. William, would you like to make an introduction?
Hey, great to meet all of you. I am based here in Taipei. I've been in Polkadot for a few years, and I've done a number of things there. I worked at Talisman, that's a wallet, one of the main wallets in Polkadot. I've been a decentralized voice, that's a delegated voter in governance. So the Web3 Foundation delegated me 6 million DOT in order to help make decisions. And I've been a head ambassador. Last year, for the second half of the year, I was a head ambassador of Polkadot, helping to bring the network out to the rest of the world. Currently, I'm at OpenZeppelin, where I work across ecosystems, and that includes Polkadot. And I'm excited to be here with you to share some information and have a great time walking through this market.
Like, I love that you got your Jam hat on too, like representing, and also the Kusama t-shirt.
That's right.
Embrace some chaos, baby. Okay, thank you for answering that first question. So my next one is, with the proliferation of layer 1s, layer 2s, just a shit ton of blockchains and shit ton of networks, can you tell the audience what is Polkadot and why should they care?
Definitely. In fact, I think we haven't seen anything yet in terms of the number of networks that are out there. I think when blockchain starts moving even more into the real world, we can see thousands of chains, we can see app chains, we can see purpose-specific chains. And so in a world of multi-chain, what is Polkadot? Well, Polkadot is really important infrastructure to help anybody create a blockchain. And that's how it got started. If you know Polkadot 1.0, it was the parachain model. That's how I think many of you know Polkadot. It's this modular toolkit to allow you to build your blockchain and customize it to whatever you need it to be. Polkadot functions really well as this infrastructure that lets you create whatever you want to create. And so I think you see that today in a lot of different examples. So if you're out there, you probably realize that you haven't heard Polkadot a lot in your normal goings-on in blockchain, right? It's not one of the top DeFi chains. It's not something where you're going to ape into the latest coin.
No.
You're not going to bridge your funds there. And in a sense, where Polkadot is found today is actually underneath other real-world applications that are using the blockchain for security, using it to run their own application-specific service. And just a few examples of those. The biggest ones today is Mythical Games. They have a game on the App Store and Android Store for the NFL. Probably a million users per month. It's one of the highest volume NFT trading, I think second just to Ethereum now. And you would never know that it's powered by Polkadot.
I was just about to say, like, people using that app, they don't even know that. There's no mention of NFTs.
No. You play the game. It's like a little football game. You get characters, you get rewards, you can trade them. Everybody is trading NFTs. They're winning these awards, and nobody knows that it's based on blockchain. I think in the future, they're going to open that up a little bit more, right? But it's not part of the core experience, and it shouldn't be. It should be a fun game that lets you engage as a fan. So this is an example of what's powered by Polkadot today. So that's today NFL, but this year they're going to release a FIFA game. And so just imagine the regular football world, or soccer, as we like to say, is probably 50 to 100 times bigger than NFL. And that is also going to be powered by Polkadot. That's just one example of how I think Polkadot is really in use today. It's not meant to be the star of the show. It's not meant to take the attention. It's not meant to be the place for you to stick your funds, but it's actually powering things that are working for customers in the real world.
I have also heard an example of where Polkadot is used at Heathrow. Is that still a thing? Or
That's the supply chain example. Again, Polkadot is powering tracking of luggage around the airport. You can imagine how much luggage gets lost every year, but there are these GPS modules that go on all of the luggage carts as they go around the airport, and Polkadot is underneath securing the location, recording it, and then allowing everybody to track the movement as it goes from place to place. You know, you would never know that blockchain is underneath. You would never know that Polkadot is underneath. As a business, if you need reliable blockchain infrastructure in order to track and share things and make sure that all of your locations are verifiable, then Polkadot is that partner for you. The reason for that is how we differ from other other blockchains is that Polkadot doesn't go down. So if you imagine if you're tracking luggage around the airport, if your blockchain is going down because of an NFT mint or something that's happening, it's going to stop working for that business-specific use case.
Right.
If the blockchain powering your game underneath is going to go down for a few hours or for a day, all of a sudden your game is not going to work for your customers. I think that's really where Polkadot shines, and it's not something that's, let's say, crypto native or well-known, but it keeps on ticking and keeps on running important services.
So is that why like Polkadot is making such a big push by putting itself on Miami FC's jersey or like on one of the IndyCar 500s last year? Like, are they pushing that sort of advertisement to attract more businesses, or is that for more regular Joe Schmoes like me?
I think it's everything, right? That kind of brand marketing is all about attention. Can you get your eyes in front of more and more people? And I think the US is very important for this year, right? Especially after the election. But you can see that Polkadot was a little bit forward thinking there. Who attends these games? Who has the special booths at the games, right? It's the CEOs of all of your major companies in the US. And so that's really who Polkadot wants to engage with. Of course, it's important to go out in front of fans and the regular population and engage them. And in fact, we are on the cusp of a release of the Polkadot mobile app. And so this will be an app targeted at retail users where anybody can very easily set up a wallet. Actually, you won't even know that it's a wallet. You don't have to manage the seed phrase. We use account abstraction. Anybody can go in, claim a Polkadot username, and then send funds to each other. You can make payments across borders.
All self-custodially.
All self-custodially, backed up in your Google account or something easy. And you can pay at Polkadot at any store. And in fact, get lots of discounts. So pay with your funds on the Polkadot chain, get anywhere from, 5% to 20% discount on your purchases. And it's all going to be powered by Polkadot, first-party native app for people to use the chain. So that's coming. It's not here yet, but that will be our push into retail.
Wow, that's dope. That's actually so sick. That's the first time I've heard of it here.
Say we were in the US and there was, a nice fruit stand like this, or, I don't know if we can buy chicken feet like over here in this store, but when the Polkadot app comes out, you could get your 10% discount on buying whatever you want. It will be compatible to any point of sale system.
How does that work though? Like how is it just compatible with any POS system?
Because it runs over traditional payment rails. We have a integration so that the stable coins on Polkadot or any other fund that's on Polkadot, we can interact with any point of sale using the traditional credit card and gift card rails, which is already in every point of sale. Again, it's the same theme of using blockchain to power real world transactions, real world use cases, and just abstracting away all of the blockchain layers.
Love it. Great answer. That is fascinating.
Sounds good. Should we head upstairs?
Yes. My next question is, I used to be somewhat familiar with the Polkadot ecosystem. My former company, ChainSafe, we were building a Polkadot host client called Gossamer. Back in the 2021 era of Polkadot, there was a lot of developer interest. I believe it was the second most hot ecosystem after Ethereum. All the developers were focused in on it. But it seems like in recent years, the developer interest has started to wane a little bit more. Do you know why that is? And how can Polkadot attract more of those teams back here?
Definitely. Any developer, any technical-minded person who has looked at Polkadot, the way it's designed, the way that you can modularly construct your own blockchain, has always really appreciated how well it's architected. It allows you to customize your chain exactly the way that you want and relying on, rock-solid components that you can stitch together. I think what happened in the past few years is actually the narrative kind of went to L2s on Ethereum, and kind of through the bear market and the past few years, that kind of sucked away all of the attention. So less people were using Polkadot to build your own chain, and instead they're just, getting on the latest hype, which is, can I launch my own L2? And so I think whatever Polkadot had since the beginning is still there. If you want to modify some part of your consensus, if you want to put together your own chain, it could be an EVF chain, it could be a substrate chain. We even have a move pair chain that's coming on now. If you want to make a move chain, it's still very powerful. You can take those components, build and release it to production. But actually the newest thing that's coming this year and how we intend to reignite the developer interest is by the launch of what's called Polkadot Hub. Polkadot Hub is going to be an L1 from Polkadot. It's some place where individuals directly come and use the chain and can deploy smart contracts. Polkadot has never had its own Polkadot L1 before. It's always been Moonbeam or someone else.
Right.
But this year, we are concentrating all resources to making a official Polkadot L1. It's called Polkadot Hub. It will be EVM compatible. And so we will go after all of the users, all of the liquidity, many new smart contracts, and many blue chip protocols, and bring them all to this one place where they can participate and release their own applications. Now, the difference here is that if you want to build on Polkadot, people have always appreciated Polkadot's infrastructure being rock solid, but it's been difficult to spin up that chain. challenging. This is like a learning curve.
The
substrate is difficult, powerful, but difficult. But now, in order to build on Polkadot, you only have to be able to release a smart contract, and you can do it on Solidity. And so it really just cuts the learning curve, cuts the barrier, makes it very fast to deploy whatever you want. And now Polkadot will run that infrastructure for you. So you don't have to worry about anything to build on Polkadot. And when your application grows, then there's a natural transition to you running your own chain. So you don't have to invest in becoming an app chain or a parachain on day one. But when your application gets enough revenue and enough users, or when you want to do something special with consensus, then you can just upgrade your service into a parachain, into an app chain. So that's the new strategy for Polkadot this year. So that's what we're putting all of our resources into.
So you guys are building basically a Polkadot layer 1 called Polkadot Hub. People and teams can start there first before considering upgrading as a parachain.
Yeah, so the new terminology this year is Polkadot Hub is the L1 where you can deploy smart contracts. Yeah. And those are EVM, so Solidity smart contracts, or Rust, and soon to be supporting many more languages. And then the other half of Polkadot is Polkadot Cloud. That's known as the same as what we had before. You can launch your own chain as like a parachain, or you might call it an app chain.
Cool, thank you. So you kind of mentioned one of the issues in your last answer. And so one of my biggest issues before with Polkadot was I would get an account through Polkadot.js, and then I would be on chain through the Polkadot.js app website. And then maybe I would commit my dots to a parachain crowd loan or whatever. But there was just always this sense of like, okay, I'm on Polkadot, but I don't know what there is to do on there. Like on Ethereum, there's ENS, Aave, NFTs, plethora of DeFi protocols that you can play with. There's on-chain gaming. And so I know you've already mentioned a couple of these already, but like, what are some of the apps that you like to use right now on Polkadot that people can plug into and start playing around with in that ecosystem?
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned, there's not a lot of retail activity on Polkadot today. And so I think Polkadot Hub will launch later this year. And there you'll see all of the normal DeFi that you would expect. Any kind of smart contract, we will be inviting the large players from all other ecosystems to come and deploy on Polkadot. I think that's the real time when there will be something for us retail users to come in and directly use to interact with the chain. Today, the biggest protocols, and there's many protocols today that are running over 1 million transactions per month, but they are all, I'd say, B2B use cases. So Mythical is one of the biggest. Now that is used by retail users, but they don't know they're using Polkadot. A second one is NeuroWeb and Origin Trail. So they do verifiable AI to make sure that the outputs of your AI are verified from input sources. That is all powered by Polkadot. But again, as a user, you would never know that Polkadot is there. There's Frequency, which is a social media app. Like, how do you have a social media app where your data is portable so you can own it? It's not like Facebook that's monetizing all of your data. That is all powered by Polkadot. But again, from a user point of view, it's all abstracted away. And so there's a few more examples of these places that you're using Polkadot, but you wouldn't know that you're using Polkadot because we are just the rock solid infrastructure that's underneath. Like, one of the analogy that many people use is we want to be the AWS of blockchain. Like, when you're using whatever famous app, Netflix, you don't really know that it's AWS underneath. Yeah. You just know that it's solid and it works when you want it to. That's really what we want Polkadot to be. That's what it was designed to be. We think that each application should go and get its own users. And so they just need something solid to build on top of, and that's what we provide.
Gotcha. The future is bright for Polkadot, just not right now.
We've never gone after like crypto native users to be the place for you to go and, I don't know, buy the latest meme coin or put your money in the 300% APR pool, right? Maybe we'll see that when Polkadot Hub launches later this year. I think one of the goals of Polkadot is really to bring Web3 into the real world, provide that reliable infrastructure. And it means that you're not going to create everything from scratch. I think there's a lot of very creative things that are being built natively on blockchain today, but it's a lot more interesting to go out into the Web2 world, see where services are too centralized, where there's some kind of party that needs to be trusted, but maybe they could take advantage of one user and prioritize them over another, and instead swap out that backend for something built on blockchain, where it's much more fair, it's open to everybody. And that's what Polkadot really wants to do. So we need to make ourselves appealing to regular businesses, regular use cases, because it's really about bringing blockchain out into the real world rather than what maybe we can do that's more fun.
All right, we've made it this far. Last question. So back in 2021, 2022, I remember with Polkadot, one of the main things you can do is the parachain slot auctions. You would pool your dots and KSMs and essentially vote for what the next parachain will become next. So I haven't been personally too engaged with the Polkadot ecosystem, but it seems like the Polkadot ecosystem has iterated continuously since that time. So I'm hearing of this new thing called the Jam Chain, i.e. the hat that you're wearing. Just for the people out there, what is Jam Chain and how is that going to affect everyday Joe Schmo users like me or maybe you or other people?
Just taking a look back before we go forward. Just about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, it was Gavin Wood, the co-creator of Polkadot and Solidity and the founder of Ethereum. He coined the term Web3. And Web3 is a new philosophy for how services should run that respect people's individual rights and freedoms, rather than in a centralized world where somebody else can come in and impose their will or do something in an unfair way. That kind of sets the stage. Then we have the creation of Ethereum, we have Polkadot, and I would say Jam is the next evolution of Polkadot to enable the Web3 vision. So in a sense, it's the same path, but this is better infrastructure that takes the learnings of the last 10 years and looks forward about how to bring, let's say, blockchain out to the next population to service the world. Now, when I say that, a very interesting thing to know about Jam is that Jam is not actually a blockchain, and it actually enables a lot of use cases for programs that are running that have nothing to do with blockchain at all, but it's built on the same foundation. The foundation of blockchain today is a number of nodes across the world that all agree on a common state, and today that's the chain, right? One block after another. Because it's so decentralized, that makes it resilient to interference by a centralized party. But it's also a little bit restrictive because you can only build blockchains. You can only build things that run on blocks with ledgers. So Jam takes the same underpinning set of computers. You can think of it like a decentralized computer all over the world, kind of like the vision of a world computer. And what Jam does is it allows you to run not just a blockchain on it, but any computer program written in any language. In one sense, it will be Turing complete. Like we think of Ethereum as a Turing complete language, but actually it's not because of the concept of gas. Jam will enable truly Turing complete programs to be run, compiled from any language based on RISC-V. And so this will be the next evolution towards this trustless supercomputer that anybody can run permissionlessly, deploy a program to run services for anybody in the world. So in a sense, it's a very big mental shift. In one sense, it's an evolution of what was built with blockchain. But in another sense, it kind of takes off the shackles of blockchain and allows you to run anything that you want to run. Now, of course, the first things that will run on Jam are blockchains. Polkadot itself, which is a relay chain, plus Polkadot Hub, plus a bunch of other chains, that will be moved to run on top of Jam. But it will also allow any other blockchain to base itself on the Jam infrastructure. So maybe Optimism Superchain can run on that, or Cosmos chains can run on that. Kusama can run on top of it. It is like a little bit of one step lower in the infrastructure. You will be able to use the shared security of all of the validators and underlying infrastructure and run any kind of blockchain on top of it. That's kind of the first use case for Jam.
Can you give me an analogy for what the Jam upgrade is for Polkadot? Is it akin to something like swapping out an engine, kind of like what Ethereum did with proof of work to proof of stake?
I think you can say it's similar to some kind of lower level upgrade, swapping out an engine, going from like a integrated graphics on your graphics card to a discrete card. You know, you have the same Windows or Mac, but all of a sudden the graphics is more powerful and now you can run AI on the card too. So really upgrading the capabilities. You can push a lot more transactions per second. You can run so many more services on it, like 100 times more programs on it. But in some sense, it's invisible to the users. You just get more capabilities. And we're here today as part of the Jam tour. So the other thing to know about Jam is that it's in R&D right now. And the idea is Polkadot has always prioritized decentralization. Decentralization is the key to resilience, to having a resilient system. And for that, we need to have multiple node implementations. We have 35 teams all over the world building Jam clients. And actually 2 of them are based here in Taipei, which makes Taipei the most Jam per capita of anywhere else.
That's actually pretty sick. Bullish for Taipei.
2 teams here out of the 35. But the point is we need Jam client implementations in multiple languages to make a truly decentralized system, not just one party controls like the node or anything.
Client diversity.
And so we're starting that from the very beginning. And then the chain will boot up and then it will replace the relay chain or Polkadot will then run on Jam.
We'll definitely have to look out for Polkadot coming up this year.
And look out for Taipei.
Any closing comments, anything you want to shout out? I know you've mentioned a lot of very bullish things for Polkadot. Polkadot Hub, the Polkadot mobile app, Jam Chain, more and more companies companies getting onboarded into Polkadot, but then everyday users won't need to know if Polkadot's actually running underneath it. Anyways, I don't want to steal your thunder, but any closing comments you have, or if you want to shout anything out, or any sort of call to action for viewers?
I would say just take a look at Polkadot again. There was a lot of publicity before, then people stopped paying attention to it, but it's been constantly developing. If you know one thing about Gavin Wood, it's about the long-term vision to help build a better society that's more fair, that's built on Web3 principles, that has never gone away. It's constantly being built in the background. And we do need more people to come in to realize that, to contribute. And I think with Jam, there'll be the possibility to unite many different ecosystems that are all running on the same decentralized, strong infrastructure. Keep that in mind, keep learning, check out Jam Tour if it's near you. Come back to Polkadot, come back. Shout out to OpenZeppelin. So I'm going to hopefully meet you at some conferences.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do another video on OpenZeppelin next.
That's right.
That's it for today. Drop a like, subscribe, and comment. It would help a lot to growing this channel. And make sure to follow William, or Ghost as I know him from Telegram, and Polkadot. Tons of cool shit happening in that ecosystem. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Peace.